Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Rabbi Sai, I don't know for sure, but from the fact that Mati just walked in, might be a sign that the war is over. He's been there in the trenches from day one. We haven't seen Mati. Where have you been? Giving out gear and all that stuff. Welcome, welcome. What's your name? Simcha Firestone from Boca Raton. Shalom Aleichem, Simcha. You all saw him on the bus the other day giving that speech. The boy said we have with us a tremendous guest. Puts Mati to shame. We have the chassan himself, Sruli Fix, on the day of his chasana. Here he is. Mazal Tov Ahron. Ulecha Yisroel, Mazal. Yeah, love on Yeah. It happens to be that Sruli does the daf. We're very proud of him. Be'ez Hashem, we should continue and bringing Torah. We have with us an anonymous guest who we won't say his name. We'll only say his name starts with Uncle Moishi, Uncle Joey, whatever you want to call him. He's in the back seat. Mr. Who's sitting next to you, Uncle Phil? From Maryland, from Baltimore. What's your name? Mark Horowitz. Shalom Aleichem, Mark. Send regards to Uncle Fishel. Rabbi Sai, who else do we have? What's his name? What? Mati? That's not his name. Ahron Fraiman comes to the shir every night. Do you come to the English shir also every day? 2 shiurim. He's not even bar mitzvah yet. 2 shiurim. Yeah, that's right. Get over here, bar mitzvah bacher. Meanwhile, I'm going to read this. Hanan Wiener. Thank you, Reb Eli. I was thrilled to join. 3 takeaways from my visit to MDY. Thank you. I was thrilled to join the daf in person last week. I'm back in Boston now, and I have 3 main takeaways that I wanted to share. Number 1. Mazal Tov. What's your name? Tell everybody your name. I'm very bad with names. Ahron Fraiman what? Martin? Yes. And you come to both shiurim, right? Yes. I even recognize you. It's unbelievable. You come to the English and the Hebrew every single day. How many masechtas did you do with us so far? Since Tainus. Since Tainus? Wow, that's like 15 masechtas? Maybe more. Wow, and you're not even bar mitzvah. You should continue growing and steiging. Listen, what the guys do is they go to Yeshiva Tana. You're going to Yeshiva Tana next year? And then they drop the daf like a hot potato. Don't do it. Stick with us. Or whatever the Rashiva says. Very, very proud of you. You should give your parents a lot of nachas. Takeaway number 1 that Hanan got from coming to the shir: people should make the effort to come to the daf in person. Baruch Hashem, it's such a warm, welcoming environment. And for those who have been with MDY for a while, it's very comfortable and familiar. It really grows the connection to MDY, which gives more chizuk to stay on the daf train. Number 2, I figured I would have a great experience, but what I could not anticipate was the experience of those who saw me and how it inspired them. So many people messaged me and told me they saw me in shir. I didn't even know that my father-in-law, shout out to Mr. Tony Ruffman from Edgeware and London MDY Chaver for getting him involved with MDY, started the daf, couldn't believe his eyes when he turned in for the very first time and saw me there. That's a coincidence. The very first time his father-in-law started the daf, saw his son-in-law sitting in this hot chair right over there. I heard at least 2 similar stories of new MDY people I've known for years and was shocked when they saw me sitting in front of you. People are excited to see a local connection. Attending the live shir gives tremendous chizuk to everyone else. You hear that, Simcha? People are going to text you and they're going to tell you. I've sat through the Dam ala Hoshev portion of the new Masechta many times. And in my humble opinion, always thought there was one point that can be made stronger. Achdus. Daf Yomi is the greatest Jewish Achdus project on the planet. We're on the same page, mamish. Anyone serious about Achdus should do the daf. To Reb Eli and all those that keep MDY plugging, thank you in every way. May we see Besuras Toivos and Geulas Hashem Bekarov Chananel. And talking about Achdus, this is something very unique to the MDY mishpacha. Get together to meet our Aussie Chaver, Yomi Rosenbaum. Yomi is the second to left, the one with the beard on the left. He lives in Australia. He's a big part of MDY. And the Olam in New York went out to meet him, like mishpacha, as if they know him for generations. Peretz Chaim Levin is on the right. Behind him is Yiddi Schwartz. Behind him, Ari Klugman, Yumi Rosenbaum, and Akiva Ziegler is all the way on the left. R Eli, if read, keep anonymous. Not too long ago, a few months back, I was working in someone's home. I saw the husband learning the daf. I happened to mention, hey, you learn with Reb Eli? I also do. Listen to this, Rabbi. It's another story of Achdus. Guy's working in somebody's home. He sees the balabas learning the daf. He goes over and says, not only am I working in your home, but we share the same, I get share. What does this guy do? His response was, here's a matana. He gave him cash and continued learning the daf. And he says, continue learning the daf every day. It was a nice amount of money. I've been learning Daf Yomi since Ksubis, enjoying it and learning. Boys, I'm an MDY because of Steve. This is Eitan G, the famous Eitan G from Shlakrak. I was a little behind, so I waited for him to catch up, to do the scene with him. Barbecue, stogies, and see him. That's how we do it in LA. All love, G. Thank you for your commitment to MDY and your Daf Yomi share. The last email I sent was 2 winters ago. Myself and 2 brothers watching a share on Motzi Shabbos. Calm down. Outside the cold by the fire. I've been daffing since brachas for legal reasons because of the cruise. But Lamaisa, he's been since Rosh Hashanah. What's going on here? He's been daffing with us since brachas because he wants to go on the cruise. But in reality, he's been with us since Rosh Hashanah. I missed days and caught them up, and I'm going strong. I can't say that you've changed my life, but I can say that when I'm having a hard day, you make my day better. It's not the Gemara that helps. It's maybe the emails you read, the personal stories that are something so awkward to listen to and are told at the most random moments. The funny jokes, but sometimes really dumb ones. The warmth you share with the guys in the live share. Hold on, I gotta give some love here. I love you, Rav. I love you. It's gonna be a good one today. The funny jokes, the warmth, the constant enthusiasm despite feeling sick or tired or alone in a hotel room. I'm a Kesher Nafshi kid. One of those kids the parents go to Kesher Nafshi for. A survivor who followed a different path and ended up returning to my roots with lots of help. Now, Baruch Hashem, I have 2 beautiful children and one on the way. I would not have to come this far. Rabbi said, you might know him. He came to the Shabbaton. I definitely remember him. I would not have come this far without you. But the daf didn't change his life. Okay, interesting. And your commitment to a novel, exciting, transformative shir, the children of the future will say, how did they learn back then without these videos and artwork? To end off, even though I can't say you have changed my life wouldn't be as beautiful and joyous without you. Attached, it's mamish a contradiction minei ubei. Fine. Some people are just too stubborn to admit it. It's changed everybody's life. Attached is a picture of me and my wife in a video of my kids singing the national MDY anthem. Warmest wishes, Binyamin Shaw. Boys, here it is. Oi.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Gewaldig. Okay, the Masechta. Anonymous for the safe and speedy return for all the hostages. Thank you, Avi. And the parents of Chodesh, Mazal Tov Ahron, Rav Eli, and the entire mishpacha on the birth of Sophia Ruth. Parents of Chodesh, zechus, zechus, Yosef. Parents of Chodesh, Ahron Fraiman. It should be a zechus to Rav Eli for continuing siyadta, dishmaya, and teaching Torah to Klal Yisroel. Parents of Shavua, yutah bas Moshe Ahron. Parents of Hayoim, the recovery of Dr Sean Berenholtz. I don't know, the Ben Shmuel. Leatha, Leah, I can't, it's all mixed up here. Baltimore County Fire Department. That's how you got it. Shalom Aleichem, all the guys in Zoom. The art of the month, anonymous, for the zechus, for an easy childbirth, for his daughter, and a healthy baby. Rabbi Isai, a question for those of you who have not been here last night. When a person wants to acquire, let's say, not a car, let's say a small horse. How many types of kinyonim can you come up with? They could acquire a small horse. I'm taking answers now.
Lift it, pull it, kick it. Pass it.
It sounds like one of those games. Lift it, pass it, pop it. Yeah, that's it. Say it again. Lift it. Pop it, kick it, Givaldi. Great. Avi, you're on a roll. Anybody else? Anything else? Huh? Ride it. Okay, maybe. What? Pull it. Kiyan Agav. Very good. No? You got anything else? Chalip and Sudar. I knew it. From this whole room, the island didn't say the one I'm looking for. Okay, Libby, you remember which one I'm looking for? Who told you? Did you just tell him? Benny, don't. If anybody, it should be the guy in front of you, not the guy in back of you. Yeah, Masira. Okay, it's a good one. It's a nice one. We don't really pay attention to that. Masira means to give over. You give the reins over to the other guy. That's a kinyan. Now, I want to show you a picture. And this is today's sugya, really. This guy finds a couch. The cushions are on backwards, if you notice. And this happens a lot, especially in our neighborhood. People take a couch. In America, it's a nice, good couch. Over here, if you see a couch in the garbage, trust me, if somebody threw it out, it belongs there. But there's people that come along and they check it out. Okay, so this guy lifts it up like this. Is he kind of the couch? Yes or no? What did he do here? Akba.
Yeah,
it's a kinyan. He's kind of the couch.
Got it to there.
The answer is, no, he didn't get it to there. Who told you? It's not a video.
Left it on the street?
Yeah, he left it in the street and he's trying to pick it up.
No, I know.
So the answer is he's not koinet. Why? Because half of it is on the ground. Here's another picture. Here, this makes more sense. Oh, okay. Lift it up like this. How about this picture right over here? Are these guys koinet? Bagba? The answer is it's a big problem. Why? Because it's two people. Who exactly was Magbiyah? Each one is preventing from the other one to be zoich in a kinyan. There's another picture. How can you be zoicha? You're not picking it up. The other guy's picking it up. He's not picking it up because you're picking it up. So what do? That's today's sugi exactly. And then I have another question. If you want to give Sruli Fix a gift for his wedding, but you're not going to make it to the wedding, you're giving a share exactly at that time, let's say. So you tell somebody here, I want you to acquire this gift for Sruli. Does that work? What is that called? Let's say you find a nice cell phone on the floor. You already have one. You don't need another one. It's the older model. You don't even care about it. Could you be zoicha in that cell phone for Sruli? Yes or no? Yes. Well, why is it Chavin Lovin? That's something. Okay, it's fine. Let's say it's a pile of cash, but he's right without even knowing that he's right. There is a shita that says you cannot be zoicha for somebody else. Why? Because you're taking it from the rest of the world. Zachin l'adam shalei b'fanav means I want to give it to the chassan anyway, so you'll be zoicha for him, a matana. But a metzia, you're lifting it up from the ground, and now other people can't pick it up. There is a shita like that. That's today's sugya. What? Yes, you could be zoicha for yourself. So hold on. Okay, so here's the case. We'll just go through the case real quickly. I owe you money. You could come to me and grab my computer from me if I don't pay. Could Mendy grab my computer for you? The answer is no. If I owe other people money, no, because he is hurting the other people. Could he be zoicha for himself? Let's say I owe him money, he could, but not for you. He could be zoicha for himself, not for you, because now let's see the sugi inside. That is what we're talking about. Yeah. Now, we're holding in middle, literally, we're in the middle of a word, but there's a big isser. Those of you that know, come Taran, we have seats over here. Come. We have at least one seat over here in the front, and there's one over there. So, what's your name? Ami? From? Who's that? Related? Really, brothers. Another call from, where do you live? Monsi, Shalom Aleichem, come Taran. You have a seat for him? Okay, Givaldi. So, I was in the middle of saying this halacha that the rules of Daf Yomi, you're not allowed to go to the next Amud. That's one of the big rules. There's Bal Toisef, there's big isurim to even go to the next. I'm not serious, Simcha. You know that, right? So, we were over a little bit, but we're in the middle of in the middle of the sugi. That what? That if we're talking about two people holding on to talis and to a beged, they divide it. The Gemara says, well, we're not really serious about dividing it. Sometimes it's a nice coat, you're going to cut it in half. We're talking about the monetary value. So if so, says the Gemara like this. Top line. What about a golden talus? You divide it. The pligila, the palgila, what? You have a golden talus, you're going to cut it in half? Says the Gemara, yes, you can cut it in half for the people from the sons of the king. They wear these things, they'll use it as a scarf. It's still, you're not losing the value there. What about two people on top of an animal? What are you going to do? Cut an animal in half? You're going to ruin the animal. If it's a kosher animal, so you shecht it and then you cut it literally down the middle. He gets 50%. You take a donkey, you're going to cut it in half. We're talking about value. You split the value, you sell it, and you split the cash. So the whole mission, everything's talking about splitting the cash. Omar Rami Bar Chama. Zoyse Meres. Zoyse Meres means we're going to go back 7 daf to the Mishnah. And in the Mishnah it says that if two people are holding on to a talis, Yachloiku, you split it down the middle. The problem is two people holding a couch. Like in this picture, two people holding a talis. Each one is preventing the other one from acquiring it. So how does it work? So you see from here, see from here that when you lift something up and you have your friend in mind, and we're going to see exactly from what part of the Mishnah, is it Shaimak Zimatalis, is it Zoim Kulashali, is it the at the end of the Gemara is going to say maybe it's from the animal. There's a few cases in the Mishnah. You see this idea? It's hard to grab onto this idea immediately, but we're going to go through a little bit. That it must be that each one has intent to acquire for the other one. Because if each one is going to be selfish and acquire for himself, then they won't be able to acquire it at all. So I'll give Shuli Fix, not marriage advice, because I'm not the one, I'm the last person to give, but l'chayr, from this Gemara, you see a beautiful thing, a big yesod, and it could help us understand. If you go into the marriage, Shuli, thinking that you're going to benefit and you're going to take and she's going to give you and this and that, you know what happens, chas v'shalom? You get 0. But if you go in thinking the only way, says the Gemara, the only way it can work is if you have in mind to give to the other person, to be mizakeh the other person. If you have in mind to give, then you will be able to get back 50%. But not what? If your wife is a Metzia, of course, I met his Kala, she's a Metzia. So in that case, okay, we're taking it to another level. Shalom Aleichem, Kim Tzadan, we have a seat over here. Really, filling up. Rabbi site, we got to make a renovation soon. We got to make an expansion. This all kedai doch loikana, says the Gemara. Because if you hold that you try to be kind of your friend, you're not kind of, then it's like the couch that's one end on the ground. If one end is on the ground, you are not kind of, you can't acquire it. Why? You didn't lift it up. You can make a mishpacha, but not agba. You can't lift something up when half of it is on the ground. You cannot make agba when half of it is in somebody else's hand. There's no difference between somebody else's hand and the ground. You know what happens? There's no marriage. Nobody gains. You know what, Mendy? I just thought about what you said. The Gemara says it is a mitzia. If you have to look for the mitzia, the Gemara says in the Kiddushin. So it is a mitzia. So if it's a mitzia, the only way to acquire it is by thinking about the other person, by giving to the other person. Says the Gemara, No, I thought about it during last night's shir, and I said I have to go home and develop it, but I didn't. But the moment I woke up, those thoughts, I thought about it as I was waking up. I said, okay, I'm going to spend another 30 seconds in bed, and try to make it a little bit better. And then I thought about it. I said, wow, what a coincidence. Shmuel is getting married tonight, so it's gewaldic. Huh? And then he even came, yeah. So, what time of the day did you decide to come here? Mistam the exact time that, yeah, okay, fine. Says Rava argues. He says, no. It's a problem. You hear this? Rava doesn't hold like you know. That if you find an object in the street, you cannot acquire it from your friend. You can acquire it for yourself, but you cannot make a kinyan to other people. Why? Because you're ruining it for other people. You could do I could do something nice to my friend, but not on the count of other people. Don't be a tzaddik on the count of other people. So therefore, I cannot acquire for somebody else. So why does it work in our Mishnah? He says, Migu de zachil nafshei, zachil nami lechavrei. Migu over here means since you have the right to acquire for yourself, and you are acquiring for yourself, you acquire 50% for yourself. So once you acquire for yourself, then we allow you to acquire the other 50% for your friend. In other words, to acquire 100% for your friend, says Rabbi, you cannot do. But if I'm acquiring a gift, a metzia, a lost object, I'm acquiring half of this donkey for myself, so then I have the ability also at the same time to give it over to my friend. Because I'm already chav to the world by me being zechus, I guess. Once it goes, it goes. Listen, for a far-fetched mashal would be, a far-fetched, not that it's an example. You cannot make a shvuah, you don't swear on karka. But if I'm already swearing on a computer, then we'll throw in also the karka. I cannot be zechus for my friend. If I'm zechus for me, okay, so you do your friend also. Teida, I'll prove it to you. Shilo amar l'shlucha yitzei gnoivli v'gonav potter. If you tell a messenger, go out and steal, and he steals for you, what's the halacha? Ein shliach l'dvar aveira. Here we go, it's on the screen. Why ain't shliach l'dvar aveira? Why? Rabbi, you remember? Divrei Rav, Divrei Talmud, Divrei mi Shaimin. Rabbi say, I woke up this morning to get this beautiful surprise from Yoshi. The last part is the best. I hope you enjoy, Reb Nachman. Here we go. This is a cartoon of somebody sending a ganav to steal for him. Here we go. Let me put on some sound. This is MDY. Brings a Gemara, stole a Gemara. Hold on, it gets better. That's you. Mendy, what was the point? I love that. You said like coming for him. It would have been funny if they would have said, this is what I put up with every day. So he's stuck in it. It was not my idea. This is 100% Yoshi. He's right. Oh. It usually goes the opposite. Mendy, you tell him. What is the point? But okay, fine. But he didn't have a cartoon of you yet. Do you need to see it again?
Yeah, for sure.
No. What is the point? He says weiter, that means it's zechurya, a good idea to show it. I'm going to just continue weiter and you guys watch it. But if you have shutfim that steal, then one, you're chayev.
How come we didn't have me speaking?
At least Noam enjoyed it. Listen, good. He knows exactly, right? It's so to the point. It's mamish to the point.
You have to add AI.
In speaking. We don't need AI. We have plenty of clips. All right. Listen to this. I cannot send you to steal for me, but if we're partners, I could steal for you. How does it work? I cannot send you to steal for me. So if we're partners, all of a sudden I could steal for you. So what's the pshat? My timer. Again, two people, they schemed to steal something. We're both going to steal a car. One of them chickened out, ran away, and I stole it. I'm the only one stealing. No, it's as if both of us stole. Why? There's no shliach l'dvar aveira. Says Gemara, my time. Since I am doing it with you, and I was zechus, so to speak, a big zechus. I stole half, so I stole for you. Shema mina. So you see from here that migui. If I could acquire half for myself, I could acquire for you. But you on your own, just one person to acquire for the other person, that doesn't work. Omer Rava. If I do, right now I can, 100%. I do, big difference. Yeah. Not because I could, because I did. I took 50% for myself, so the other 50% for you. Omer Rava. Once we have this idea, cheresh upikeach shigbiu metzia. So let's go through this. In the time of the Gemara, cheresh means a deaf mute, and they didn't have a way for them to be educated. They didn't have a language, they didn't speak, they didn't hear, so they're completely ignorant. And in terms of halacha, they don't have das. They don't have the ability to acquire. So, but Chacham said, you know what? A cheresh could acquire midrabanan. It's only midrabanan. Why? So there shouldn't be any fighting. Imagine he goes in the street, he tries to acquire something. Somebody goes over and pulls it away from him. So they're going to have a boxing match in the middle of the street. So he said, you know what? A cheresh could. So it's a derabanan. So now we have an issue. The issue is like as follows. Let me show you quickly what this is so nobody gets confused. This is the hottest merch item. It's called MDY socks. That's what this is. This is based on this. Here. So you have that. Okay? So.
How do you use them?
Show us. There's plenty of people that are wearing them. Somebody's phone is on the floor here. So, there's a pikech and a cheresh. So think about it. The pikech could acquire midiraisa. The cheresh can't. He could only acquire midirabanan. They're both lifting it up. And we just said that the only way to acquire an item when two people are lifting together is if each one is mechaven to the other one. Each one is giving the other one. Now, the cheresh, check out what happens here. He's having kavana. The pikech is having kavana in his mind. Okay, I'm thinking I'm going to acquire for the cheresh 50%, and therefore the pikech should get 50%. What's in the cheresh's mind? Blank. He doesn't have a mind. He has no das. So therefore, it comes out that the pikech is not going to acquire anything because nobody's helping him. You need the other guy that's the opposite of you to acquire. You hear this really? You need the other person to give the other person. That's what okay. So says the Gemara. So Gemara starts off saying, no, because the cheresh acquires it. How does the cheresh acquire it? Because the pikeach thought about him. So the pikeach also acquires it. Says Gemara doesn't make sense. The reason why the cheresh acquires it is because he had a great counterpart. The pikeach guy, he thought about him. The zero going on in his brain. How was the pikeach? The cheresh didn't do it for him. Okay, it only works one way. What? No, that's the whole that was the whole sugya. You cannot be kohen bagba when there's an opposing force. It's as if the couch is halfway on the floor. Says Gemara, "My migui." What you're saying? There's a migui here. Migui the shnei chershim ba'al makanu. So if this is the case, two chershim, Chachamim said each one can make a kinyan for the other one. That's why a pikech should also be kaina. Because typically speaking, two chershim that shouldn't make a kinyan. They make a kinyan and they acquire for each other. So too in this case, when you have a pikech and a cheresh, says but what's the connection? That only works. Maybe I ruined it by showing this, but that only works because the other one has the das for the one opposed, the one on the other side. The pikech in this case will have in mind to be kind of for the cheresh. Hi, adaiti the day kamagbele. But over here, the pikech, he's only thinking about himself. Because if he himself, the pikech himself, cannot acquire it in this case, lachrina makni. Why would he go into a marriage or into a kinyan being such a nice guy, thinking about the other guy when he gains nothing out of it? He's only thinking about the other guy because he's going to gain.
You need to tell his color the books.
No. We don't say these things. It's like the first thing that came to mind is for your friend. I'm only doing it because I want to be answered, without thinking about it. I'm going to daven for you because Hashem is going to help me. What if I knew for sure Hashem won't help me, only you? Then probably I won't daven for you. Yeah? I'm only going to do a kinyan for you because I know at the end of the day I'm going to get 50% out of it. I'm not going to give you 50%, go through the whole thing, schlepping a couch, so you should be kind of the couch and not me. I'm not going to do that. You're right. Neither of them are kind of. So what is the logic behind it? The only reason why Chacham said that two deaf mutes are kind of for each other, so there shouldn't be any fighting. Over here, let's see, do we have cheresh? Here, cheresh. Nothing's going on in either. There has no kinyan. I'm not being mechavet with the other guy. I don't know how to be mechavet. So we're both kind of why with the rabbanon. But here, in this case, check this out. This gets better. The cheresh is not kind of for you. So the pikeach also, he says, I'm going to flip you over. I'm not going to do for you. So neither of us are kind of. But he says, listen to what the Gemara says over here. The cheresh, as incompetent as he is, has at least enough das not to forgin. Okay? Not to forgin is a midah of a shaita. Why? Because even a shaita gets it. Shaita says, listen, I'm going to be really, really upset if you get it and I don't get it. But if neither of us get it, I'm calm. Like a little kid. Why does he get a candy and I don't get it? He gets really upset. You tell him, don't worry about it. Neither of you get it. Okay. Wow, I'm so happy. Neither of us gets. That's what happened over here. I'm not better than the Bikeach. He doesn't get, I don't get. I understand that it's not going to be any kind of machlokes. In other words, not to fargin is the midah of a shaita. Says the Gemara. So now we have a new sugya, smooth sailing here. Where did the Gemara pick up? Where did Rami Bar Chama get this idea from our Mishnah that Zoy Meres? What's Zoy? It doesn't say where. From the first Mishnah in Bava Metzia, we can learn this big halacha that if I try to acquire a lost object for my friend, I want to do him a favor, it doesn't work. Or it does work. It does work. How did he get it? In the first case, two people holding the talis. What is he saying? He's saying like this. He's saying that if two people holding onto this, since we're not mechavim for each other, a third guy could come and grab it away from us. It's perfectly fine. To have a mina. It has to be that they're thinking about each other. But in our Mishnah, it doesn't say that. It says each one's saying the whole thing is mine. I don't allow a third person to come here and grab it. So it doesn't work from the Reisha. Elamah. It comes from the second part. We said there's a double lashon over there. That's case number one. Case number two. The question is, why does the Mishnah have to repeat itself? Ella, because the Mishnah Yisrael, since it repeated itself, from the extra lashon. Says Gemara, but we already asked this question all the beginning of the Masechta, and we already established it's two separate cases. One is a lost item, and one is a sale. You're right. Let's keep on going in the Mishnah. This case, if you were just to remind the Olam, one person said the entire thing is mine, the other person said half of mine. So the guy that said half is mine, he already admits to the other guy that the red part is Ruvain's. We're not even arguing about that. The only argument is the other half of the sweatshirt, and that we divide into half. And the question is, can we figure this halacha out from the Reisha? Because you have this extra word. It's like it made it in the kant. I have nothing to do with it, so it's coming to tell us this big chiddush that if I acquire a lost item for my friend, he's kainah, the friend. Says Gemara, who told you we're talking about a mitzia over there? Maybe we're talking about a sale. And our sugi is about a mitzia. So maybe if I try to buy something from the store for my friend, it doesn't work. But if I lost item, nobody owns it, maybe I could acquire it. That already is, we said there's two cases in the Mishnah, in the beginning of the Mishnah. Mitzia, so I already spoke about Mekach Memkar. Another case for Mekach Memkar? The answer is yes. Itzrich. When a person admits, and he says, not the whole thing is mine, only half, so he's a nice guy. If a nice guy, he shouldn't make a shvuah. Mashmallah, no, he's not a nice guy. He's a very tricky guy. The Hayi Yirumi Komarim, he's tricky. Sovar Yamina Kulashli bin Ishtabuyi. He's a shtickle ganav. A shtickle ganav doesn't make him a bad guy that's going to swear and lie in a shvuah. So what does he do? If he says, that guy says the whole thing is his, and he says the whole thing is his, he knows, he went to yeshiva, he knows that he's going to have to swear. That he doesn't want to do. So he has a trick. He's going to say, no, I'm onav, tzaddik. Only half is mine. And if half is mine, they're not going to make a shvuah. It's much better for him to get half and not make a shvuah than to say the whole thing and only get half and make a shvuah. Hey Ma'achi, that's what I'm going to say. They'll say I'm a tzaddik, I'm saying the truth, I'm giving back an aveda, and I won't have to say shvuah. Therefore, the Mishnah comes and says, no, if you say half, you have to make a shvuah. Elamaha. So it's from the continuation of the Mishnah. Let me show you the picture, figure out what it looks like. Now, we have an updated one. Here, you ready? This is a bezdin. And all of a sudden, two guys come in riding a donkey. That's the Maisa. They're on the donkey, they're coming into bezdin. Hasulamali. I already said, you're holding onto a talus. What's the difference if you're on an animal, or you're grabbing an animal, or grabbing a talus? It's so extra to teach us this halacha. I need halacha to tell me that this, some of you guys scream, riding the animal, screamed. We learned in Kiddushin all the different ways to be kaina. Hagbah, it never mentioned this one. Riding on the animal, you kaina. Why? Maybe in this case the animal's kaina you. Look, he's being magbiya you. He's schlepping you around. So, says the Gemara, element seifa. So it's not extra because I have to teach you that riding on an animal, you make a kinyan on the animal. No, from the last part of the Mishnah. So as we read it, everybody's wondering what's going on here. If two people admit that they each own 50%, so of course they don't have to make a shvuah. Each one gets 50%. They go home. What's the big chiddush? You need to tell me that if we both purchased something, we both bought a car together, we could divide it down the middle. Of course. Oh, there's a big chiddush. We're talking about that two people found something. And what is the chiddush? Finally, Bava Kama learns from here that I could acquire for you. No, there's no raya for me. It's not a question. Typically speaking, I cannot acquire for my friend if I find something. But over here it's different. Since I acquire for myself 50%, then I have the right to acquire for you the other 50%. But to acquire for you 100%, that we cannot do. Says the Gemara, let's go. Brand new sugi, Rabbi Sai, wake up! Wake up! Brand new sugi. Omer Rav Yosef. Wake, don't go back to sleep. Omer Rav Yosef, Omer Rav Yehuda. So Rav Yosef says in the name of Rav Yehuda. Who's Rav Yehuda's Rebbe? Rabbi Sai, who does Rav Yehuda always quote in Shas? Both, Rav and Shmuel. Shamas minei demar Shmuel. I learned from Shmuel Tarti. I heard from him. I learned two things from him. Rachuv umanig. Here's Rachuv, Rabbi Sai, and here's manig. Manig means to grab him by the reins and pull him. Chad kani, v'chad likani. One, he said, is a great kinyan, and one is not a kinyan. Nu Rabbi Sai, which one do you think is a better kinyan? Huh? Pulling. Why? And what about riding? Maybe it's a better kinyan. Says Gemara Echidami. If it's literally like this, that he's on it by himself, there's nobody else intervening. And he's schlepping the animal by himself. It's mishpacha. Mishpacha is kind of, who in the world will say that pulling an animal, you're not kind of. So if anything, one out of the two, if you had to pick one out of the two, it would be rachavu. If you're riding on top of the animal, you're not kind of. So of course, what's the shaila? What did Rav Yosef have? What was his question, B'chlal? If it's one and one person by himself, of course, mishpacha is better than riding. Ela rachav b'makim manigi b'yalei. So the question was this. This is Roch and Manig. Obviously, Manig is better. But this case, Rabbi Yisai, this case, there's a guy on the animal and there's a guy pulling the animal, that's where the shiloh was. Who has the better king in here? Maybe you'll say that the guy riding the animal is much stronger. He's on the animal, he's grabbing the animal, so therefore he's making the kinyan. Who has more of a kinyan, Rabbi? Is somebody sitting in the driver's seat, driving the car, or a guy behind pushing the car? The guy's sitting in the car. Mamash, I'm toif as the car. It's my car. So maybe over here, the guy sitting on the animal has more of a kinyan than the guy pulling the animal. Sponsored by Kidnovations LLC in honor of my uncle Reb Elchanan Pressman, zechus Akiva Simcha Ben Feiga. Amen. Second sponsor, Ner Tamid of Baltimore, Maryland, in honor of Fishel and Simcha Gross. Thanks to them, 137 people learned over 16,000 daffim Gemara and over 727,000 minutes of Torah, and we're Messiah Bava Kama with MDY. So that reminds me of a joke. We didn't say joke in a while. A guy was riding his horse to the bar. He tied his horse to the bar, went in and drank. He comes out, his horse is gone. So he doesn't know what to do. So he claps on the bima. Says, if I don't get my horse back within a few minutes, I'm going to do to you what I did in New York. So just a few minutes go by, and the horse shows up. So the owner of the bar says, what happened in New York? So, New York, I just walked home. Says Gemari Bailu. Oh, no. Omar Rav Yosef. Says Rav Yosef. And remember this right here. Omar li Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda told me directly, says Rav Yosef. Let's figure it out ourselves. Which one is better? The guy pulling the horse or the guy on the horse? There's not a manig soivikas arbaim. Here we go. We're talking about klayim. It's also to plow a field with two types of animals. And if you are moving, you're in charge of these animals, you get malchus, you get 39 lashes. If you're like this, now this is not accurate, Rabbi Isai, because he's actually holding on to something. I would prefer him not holding on to anything. As the Gemara says specifically, just sitting in the wagon, and there's two types of animals, a horse and a bull, you get malchus. That's this shita. A Maisa Shahaya, a very, very famous Maisa, the Chassam Sofer was in a wagon with his famous Rebbe, Reb Nosson Adler, and the horse broke down. The transmission went out on the horse. So the wagon owner said, hold on a second. He unhatched him, or whatever the lashon is. He got rid of him. He went to the barn, and he came back with a bull. And he put the bull. So Reb Nosson Adler jumped off the wagon and started dancing in the snow. And he told the Chassam Sofer, when in your life will you be able to say, I wasn't over on Kalaim? You know, we don't have the issue. We have cars. He didn't have animals. He was a Rashiva. Here's a situation where I could avoid the Avera of Kalaim. Says the Gemara. Remeir, Poiter say Yoshe Bakar. So we have to remember this Remeir also. Remeir says, no, sitting, you didn't do anything. You didn't move the animals. You sat in the wagon. But when the Avach Shmuel, this is not a real epoch, don't worry about it. Basically what we're doing is we're taking this shita and making it the rabbin, the majority view. It wasn't Remeir, who's a singular view. It's Chachamim, the many say that if you sit in a wagon, you potter. Sitting in a wagon, just sitting on a horse, according to Rashi. You're not making the horse move. You're just sitting on the horse. That alone is not a kinyan. Just like you don't get malchus for sitting in a wagon in Reb Nosson Adler's case, sitting in the wagon, being driven by a horse and a bull, you're not over. So too, you're not over. You're not making a kinyan if you're sitting on a horse. If you're all by yourself, you don't acquire the horse. So certainly if there's another guy pulling the horse, he's the one making the kinyan, not you sitting on top of the horse. They say about Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, he used to call taxi drivers manig. And the taxi drivers used to love it because they were the manig of the manig. They were the manhig of the Galadar. It's unbelievable. Abai Rav Yosef says Abai to Rav Yosef. If you remember, and they don't bring it down, but I think it's pashut. Rav Yosef forgot his Torah later on in life. And Abaya throughout Shas reminds Rav Yosef, you told us this, you told us that. So here, it's another case of that, where Abaya tells Rav Yosef, Rebbe, you sure you heard this from your Rav Yehuda? It says, right? 7 lines up. It says, Omer li Rav Yehuda. Rav Yosef says, Omer li Rav Yehuda. It's Rav Yehuda that told me this. Says Abaya to his Rebbe, I know you're sick. I know you forgot your Torah. He didn't say it like that. He said it in a nice way. Hazilin sagin amrislon nevzanon. You told us that I heard this sugya from you dozens of times. You never mentioned Rav Yehuda. What's going on today? All of a sudden it's Rav Yehuda. Omerlei, Ibra, no, the truth is, and I remember the Amrilei. I even remember the whole conversation. Says, no, it's not because I'm sick and I forgot my Torah. This is what happened. Heichi Pashad Mar, I told Rav Yehuda, how do you master? Bring a raya rochav miyoshev, a guy that's on top of the animal. From a guy that's sitting in a wagon, Yoshev le'tavas b'moiseira, rochav tavas b'moiseira. That's why this picture is terrible. Say any Yehudi did it, and he didn't know the intricacies of the sugya. But here we go. Roichev on the right, he's actually holding the reins. But the guy in the wagon is not holding the reins. Pretend he's not holding it. It's very different. V'amar li, and Rav Yehuda said, Rav Shmuel Damar Tarvayu, right? Because Rav Yehuda throughout Shas, he always mentions Rav. And he always mentions Shmuel. Both of them. No machlokes here, Rabbi Yisai. Surprising. There's not even a machlokes between Rav and Shmuel. Damar Tarvayu, Meiser Leikani. Just holding onto the reins is nothing. And Ikidamri, this is just the same thing over with different names, but the outcome is the same. How do you figure out someone that's on top of the animal from someone that's just sitting without doing anything? Sitting in a wagon, you're not grabbing the reins. Idi is the one that said it. You don't acquire an animal by grabbing the reins. This idea of the reins. That's Rabbi Sai Kinyan Mesira. You give the Moiseira, you give the reins over to somebody else. Here, take it. That itself is you acquire. You don't have to lift the animal. You don't have to push the animal. You don't have nothing. You just give over the reins. This does not work when you find something in the street. You find an animal in the street. Why? Which reminds me, when I learned in Tifrach, Yeshiva Ktana, I was about 10 years old, and an American kid just came from America, and we used to play sports, baseball, basketball, punch ball, all these things. And my father decided the best place for me would be Yeshiva Ktana in the middle of the desert. So you get there, nothing, zero. Some kids, as a sport, would try to hit a cat from a distance. That was a sport. I'm not kidding. It's a terrible thing. But there was nothing to do. What do you do when you're 12, 13 years old and there's no sports? It's also to play sports. All of a sudden, I noticed in the distance, I noticed a donkey by itself. So I started running. So I figured I'll catch a donkey. Again, the donkey's looking at me, Mamish thought I was nuts. Well, who's this Meshuggah running in a plowed field in the middle of the desert, dust kicking up? When I got within 10 feet of the donkey, it just took off. And obviously it's quicker than me and I never caught it. So then it took me like 2 weeks to figure out how to catch it. I went all the way around and then I did the trick from this way. And I started. So then he started running towards Tifrach. Once he got to Tifrach, then I had some friends jump and we caught him. We got a donkey from. So if I were to acquire that donkey by holding its rein, which it didn't have, and I would not be kind of. Why? I was a shaita also.
I didn't want to say that.
So, if I were to grab the rein, would it be my donkey? Yes or no? No. You know why? Because Moisera means Mesira. The Bedouin that owned the donkey, or whoever owned it, would have to give me the rein. But me grabbing the rein from Hefker doesn't acquire it. B'metzio, b'nichsei hager, if you acquire it from a convert who died without any children, you cannot be koina with a Moisera. And here's a beautiful thing. It's very deep. My Lashon Moisera. Why is a rein called Moisera? Omarava, Idi Asberli. Idi explained, called him a Moiser David Lechaveroi. In Lashon Kodesh, the word has a lot of meaning. The reason why it's called Shem Aleichem, the reason why it's called a Moisera is because you use that to give from one person to the other. That's the whole meaning of the word. Says Gemara, and the Gemara explains, When your friend gives it to you, because he gave it to you, that's a kinyan mesira. I'm giving over the ownership of this animal to you. It doesn't work. Who's the in our Mishnah? Two people are riding an animal. They both get half. Mani Eli Meir Hashta Yosef Kani. He says by Klayim, right? Let's see if we have any more of these. Oh no, but here. When it comes to Klayim, two different animals, a horse and a bull, plowing a field. Sitting in the wagon, Remeir holds, you get Malchus. Racham Ebaya, he has to tell us a whole chiddush in the first mission of Bava Metzia to say that works. If sitting in a wagon, which is behind the animal, it's as if you're riding the animal, you're kind of, so certainly if you're on top of the animal, you kind of, there would be no reason for him to go out of his way to tell us that halacha. Elalav Rabbanan. According to Rabbanan, sitting in a wagon is not a usher. It's not usher when it comes to Klein. So too, Shema Mina, and nevertheless, the Mishnah has to tell us, even though when it comes to Klein, you're potter, Rachav Kani. You should know that if you're on top of the animal, you acquire the animal. So the problem is that Yehuda says that Roichev is like sitting in a wagon, and you're not kind of over here. It seems that Chachamim hold that sitting on top of an animal, you are kind of. Says the Gemara, b'manik beraglov. You know, I don't know if it happened to you, but unfortunately it happens to me all the time. Sometimes we have guests, and my wife is starting to say something, and I figure it's going to be embarrassing. So I give her a little kick under the table. And then she goes, "Ow, who kicked me?" And then it's like a double bizayon. Now, the guy knows that she's talking about me, and plus I kicked her under the table. So that's my, take a look at this picture over here. I think it's very, very geschmack. Take a look. It's subtle. It's the first millisecond. Here goes. Rabbi said, take a look. Boom. That. When the guy goes with his heel into the animal's ribs, you want to see it again? Here we do it again. That's hanaga. Boom. That's not sitting idly and just letting the animal do whatever it wants. When you're manning it, your action makes it move forward. That's how you coin it. Says the Gemara, but wait a minute. What's the difference if you're pulling it by what is it called? The reins, or giving it a kick? You're doing the same action. You're making it move forward. So the Gemara Trey Gavni Manig. It's two different ways to do it. And why do I need two different ways? About the same Merach of Adif, the Hamadig v'Tavasba. Maybe I'll think you have one person. What's the case? They come to Bezin. One guy's pulling the reins. One guy's on top. The Bezin should give the entire animal to the guy that's on top. Why? Because not only is he driving the animal, telling you where to go, he's also on top of it, grabbing him. So maybe he should be zoiching the 100%, not 50%. Kamash Malon, we divide it equally. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Shir Hamalois, Mama King Gosif Adinoi.